Welcome to Team DataFam Tableau Users Group meeting number 5. This user group is a little bit different. It's built around the presenter rather than the audience. So we meet when the presenter is available, and that's why we're meeting at this time today. And obviously this meeting, or all these meetings, are recorded and online, available to be looked at later on. And over the next few months, we're going to have a lot of sessions from TC25. So if you were there or you couldn't make it, that's okay. There'll be some sessions repeated here. And also, if you want to present at the Hug, please get in touch with me. My email's down the bottom. It's team.datafam@gmail.com, and we can find a slot for you with whatever you want to present with. Today we've got Ojo with us. He's presenting Designing Workbooks 101, which was a presentation at TC25. And we'll be looking at concepts and best practices to make workbooks perform properly, looking at design considerations, calculations, and more. And I'll hand it over to you, Ojo.
Thank you, Chris. This is a fantastic tug and idea where we can do an encore, a re-record session of what happened, what wasn't recorded. And I'm so glad that you could make time from your schedule and record this session. I was speaking to Chris, to you, and the plan is, since the Salesforce recording is pretty good and I can probably beat myself at the same game twice, my plan is to just point you in the right direction as to where the recording is. There is the recording and the PDF that can be downloaded from Salesforce Plus. Today's session, I'm going to give you an overview of what was there in the session at Salesforce. Then there has been a couple of people who requested how to break down and reconstruct the dashboard that I did a show and tell of the best practices, build it from scratch. So I'm going to try to squeeze it into the 20 minutes, and then probably we can take some questions in the last 5-10. With that, let me share my screen when, Chris, you let me.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. Entire screen, share. All right, let me know. Are you able to see?
Yep, we can see that now.
Perfect.
Maybe not. That's your presentation mode. Switch over to the other mode.
Are you able to see the presentation mode? No.
No, I'm seeing your notes. Yep, that's it. That's better.
Okay. All right. So the deck, it's available for download, and Chris or I could share these details at the end of today's talk. Essentially, this is what we talked about, Designing Efficient Workbooks 101. It's mostly a walkthrough of the session, and I can, if you're not connected to me on LinkedIn, it's a shame, but this is the QR code, scan it. I can share the URL, and then we can keep the conversation going. Agenda. The idea is to design efficient dashboards, and we were talking before the meeting started that more often than not, the data connection is the starting place. We have then quick filters, there are some visual rendering concepts, aspects of it. Then there are calculated fields, how to do them better. And I'm going to finish it up by talking about diagnostic tools. Data connection, absolutely. Avoid custom SQL. This is not going to be comprehensive. There are a couple of recorded sessions in TC that I attended. One is by Kirk Monroe and Thomas. They go into the details, and the other, there are a whole bunch of nice articles as well as to why we should avoid custom SQLs. That's one. Now we have, the second point is we have these relationships, which are logical in nature. And 90% of the cases, I would just go to my creating logical relationships with the tables in my database. If they are not, there are a few edge cases when you might need to use physical joins, but I would prefer logical relationships at all times. So that's pretty much covers the data connection piece. What comes in towards the end of the build, and I put it in here because this is under also part of the data piece, your metadata. Once you have done the design, you might find that there are some fields, certain calculations that are not required in your dashboard. There's a ticker on the top I can show it to you when we do the demo, but those unused fields, as you can see in this diagram, right click on it and then hide unused fields. And that's your, that'll clean it up, that'll take away additional columns from the data source, improve performance. And the other is, if you can, definitely use an extract. Using a live data source, of course, it depends, but more often than not, if you do not need to have a live sort of a reporting, you're better off using a data extract. Quick filters, that's what the name suggests. When you see quick, it's probably dirty. Dirty because it slows you down. If you have more than 7 or 8, even 9 plus quick filters, as you can see in this image over here, uh, this is not good, right? Why? Because quick filters were not designed to be, and if you are doing relevant filters, right click and show relevant values, that's even worse. So steer away from quick filters as much as you can. Use dashboard actions, and I can show you in the demo right away soon after about that. I just want to go a bit faster because I really want to get to the demo piece and then rebuild. Replace high cardinality multiple value dropdown. So if you have a long drop down like you have over here in this example, that's probably not good either. Use the apply button, that will save face. Prefer Boolean and numeric filters. Quick filters, avoid it if you can. Right. If you have a date filter, use continuous instead of discrete. If you are using if you're using a high cardinality, if you're many years and you're at the granularity of a day, probably if you need that kind of reporting, too bad. But if your analytics, if your team requires you to be at a monthly level or a quarterly level, might as well pre-aggregate those values. And I know these are big topics. You can go into the Tableau help knowledge base and then look into each of these topics and then find more. But in the interest of time, let me keep going. So the verdict is, if you do not need daily granularity, pre-aggregate your data source at the level that you need. If you have monthly reporting, pre-aggregate at a monthly level, so and so. Visual rendering, this is interesting. We know that if you have too many marks in your dashboard, if you have a tabular format, so in this Superstore with everything in, it's almost 50,000 marks. That tabular view, not the best. The idea is to limit the number of your marks, go from a pre-aggregated value, drill in, and then go to the most granular from an aggregated view. And in the demo, I'll show you what. Limit the number of worksheets. If you have 16 or 17 different worksheets into one dashboard, it's going to slow you down. If you have one question per dashboard, that's the best approach. If you have many questions, break it down into multiple dashboards, or even break it down into separate workbooks or reports and have a landing page to give that interoperability. At any point in time, ask that fundamental question: what am I trying to, what is the message or what is the question that this dashboard answers? And just focus on giving that answer. Clutter, not good. Remove the noise, remove anything extra excess. Yeah, pretty much we talked about this. Remove unnecessary calculations, worksheets, dashboards, remove clutter. Use a staggered approach, and the demo is going to be the right vehicle. Fixed dashboard size. Most of us, or I don't know, some of us like automatic when it comes to the size and layout of the dashboard. It looks good. You don't have to worry about how it will render across different devices, but it's slow. I use fixed all the time. Different houses of belief are there in the pixel sizes, but um, if I would ask automatic or fixed, I'm camp fixed. Small images, I've created some boring dashboards. I still do business dashboards, right? But if you have the flair for it, you can use custom shapes. These custom shapes could be small in size so that they don't slow your dashboard down. Before we get into the calculations, um, or probably just go through them quickly, table calculations are faster than LOD calculations. Numerical and Boolean calculations are faster than string-based calculations. I just have to call it out, and in the examples we will see. Case statements, you've seen nested if calculations, but case statements are faster than nested if statements. Min, max are faster than average and attribute. For the longest time, I didn't know that. So if you have one value of a metric, which you know has the same value, whether they, if you have only one value, the min, the max, and the average are going to be the same values. Might as well use the max or the min and avoid the average or the attribute of it. Include LODs are faster than exclude LODs. And this is a big one. If you have I think Jonathan Drummy in his Tableau tipping also touched upon some of these points. Watch that in the TC recordings. But fixed LODs can be moved back to the database. More often than not, we cheat by creating a fixed LOD on the Tableau calculation side. But if we see that we have a whole bunch of fixed LODs and then a circular dependency on those LODs, and they're using those fixed LODs to create more calculations, might as well move those fixed calculations LODs to the database during database design. I'm not saying do it right off the bat, but once you have arrived at a solution that works, it's now time to optimize that solution, right? Take the fixed LODs back to the database. And that's what I do. The more the dimensions in your LODs, the slower it is. So if you have like an include and then you put a whole bunch of dimensions in that include calculation, it's going to be slower. All right. Yeah, we talked about this. So if your calculation is using date, it's slow, but it's slower if you're using a timestamp. Unless you need date with a timestamp up to the second, just do the calculations at a date level if it's absolutely needed to. Yeah, who remembers blended calculations? Way back when we couldn't create a join between two separate or published data sources, which were coming from completely different ecosystems, we had to blend. Now, thanks to relationships, the logical relationship, I do not have to use, I forgot when was the last time I used blended calculations. And my recommendation to you is the same. We'll look at the diagnostic tools at the end, but for the completeness of the talk, under the server menu, so if I were to go to my dashboard, there's this run optimizer, right? I don't have anything red here, just review and pass. But if you do see any red, take action. That's the first thing I do. And then before I sign it off and publish and hand it over to production, I run a performance test, which is also every time I've used this help, and then settings and performance, and then start performance recording. And then you clickety click, you make it work, right? You do some filtering. And once you're happy with it, you can go back to help, settings and performance, and stop the performance recording. What it does, Tableau will then spit out a dashboard, and it's happening real time. I hope you're getting to see it. Chris, is my screen visible? The Tableau screen?
Yeah, we can see that, the performance recording.
Awesome. Awesome. So what you just saw is once I stopped the recording, Tableau spit the performance summary of the actions that I took. And you can see the longest time it took was to render the dashboard. And it was 0.34 seconds, which is pretty good. If anything's taking more than 5 seconds or even 10 seconds, I'd be concerned. But this is not the slow version. This is the demo fast, supposed to be better. If you really wanted to see, and this is not deep enough to be significantly bad, but let me turn but you get the idea. So what you see on the screen is how I used to build dashboards before, tabular, like way back when. And there were lesser capabilities at the time as well. So I had a whole bunch of quick filters. This is what I mean. A segment or a category, these are small. But when I look at subcategory, the number of elements here starts increasing. Customer name, that is the worst offender. This is a high cardinality, multiple value drop down, quick filter. I have the apply to save face, so I can select all the Aarons in the world, right? And then click on apply. And only when I do that, the dashboard responds. Apply. But if I didn't have the apply, let's look at state, for example. I don't have an apply button here. If I wanted to interact with the dashboard, each time I do something, it becomes a query that goes against the dashboard data, which slows things down. It doesn't have the apply. So if you absolutely have to use a high cardinality multiple value dropdown, slap in the apply button. That's what I mean. This is not best design. So let's take a moment and understand what's going on here. We are trying to filter, and this is Superstore dataset. Intentionally, I'm using it because all of us hopefully are familiar with the data. I have segment, I have category, subcategory, region, and an order date piece, right? The reason I have them is so that we can interact with it. If we had a question that show me everything that's first class, I'm going to do like so. And then say, show me everything that's a first class and the furniture. I'd do like so. So first class furniture, great. And now I say, show me East. So now I have first class furniture in the East region, ship mode first class, right? And I can further drill down and say, show me only Ohio. Now we have a small data set. We did 4 things on the quick filter and arrived at the solution. Now, I want to minimize this and see how I could achieve the same thing in a dashboard that doesn't use quick filters, right? So same thing, but instead of quick filters, I'm saying ship mode first class. And then, which was it? Was it West? And then home office. I'm still filtering, but no quick filters here. And now I'm going to go and look at my details. So segment home office, first class, region West. I get a small list without quick filters. This is faster. Close the details. Oh, crap. I don't have the date, or do I? So maybe I do. But I've aggregated it instead of a daily date. I've aggregated it to the quarterly level because you know what? I just want to look at the details at a quarterly level. My team is okay with that. So I clicked on the Q4 of 2023. And guess what happens? Everything in this dashboard gets filtered down. Watch. It's going to change. 2022, 2023 Q3, the numbers change. And this change persists into my details as well. So here in the details, I just have the relevant quarter information only. So my dashboard elements, thanks to parameter action and dashboard action, is showing only what I chose. If I unselect, go back to details, I'll have a more detailed, more number of rows because I have unselected by toggling the choice. Now, how did I build this? How am I doing with time, Chris?
You're fine. Keep on going.
All right, good. Let me take you um, to the wiring here, and I don't want to show hidden fields. Great. So it's our Superstore data set. All I did is I made an extract because that's what smart people do. They create an extract if you can, right? Unfortunately, for this demo, I do not have a data set where I'm using relational modeling, or I didn't have to do any monkeying around. What I did is I used a couple of LODs. Yes, I'm saying my year. So I'm saying, is this, why am I doing this? Because if you do need to compare your last year with your previous year, that's when you need this calculation. If you're just okay with the big numbers, you're just fine. The other cool piece that we want to do here is when I click on, so we just looked at sales. Everything in this dashboard is, I don't know, this light bluish color. If I clicked on this light yellowish color, profit, everything changes to be profit. If I just wanted to look at my quantity metrics, I clicked on this. This is parameter actions. So I'm using parameters and using parameters to switch the metrics that I'm showing. We'll go to how I did that last, but let's build the bare bones of this. So what do we have here? Sales, big numbers. I go here, go to my sales, grab it into text. That's my big number. Let me make this bigger. 18. Good. And now this is my sales. Do I need to bring in the last year and the previous year? Of course. To bring in my last year, I've written a few calculated fields. I'm saying is last year, then sales. And what is last year? I've written them once and I've used it for 3 calculations. So I think I did okay. If it's never used multiple times, I might as well have brought the calculation into sales last year. And you will see what I mean by that. Is last year is year of order date equal to last year. And my last year is indeed a fixed level of detail. So I could have gone back to my data source on that spreadsheet and added a column called last year and stuck in the max value over there, right? Or I could have thrown my data source into a prep flow, calculated this, put it into prep, use the horsepower of the hyper engine, the prep flow, to come up with a column called last year and not have to use this fixed LOD. But I cheated. Don't be like me. I'm saying max of year order date. So dynamically, this will get the year of the order date and find the max value. And these curly braces will make it fixed. So it'll return the highest value of the year in my data set. And my previous year is also a calculation which depends on my last year. And I'm saying I could have replace this with last year minus 1. I hope it didn't break the data. Yeah, it didn't break. Good. With these 2 calculations, I'm now going to create more calculation. I'm saying is last year and is previous year, these 2 Boolean calculations. And now I'm going to calculate all my metrics, which is sales last year, by multiplying sales with is last year, sales previous year, edit. Previous year is, if it's previous year, then show me sales, right? And similarly, I'm doing it across the 3 dimensions, the 3 measures I'm going to show. So my quantity, multiply with last year for last year quantity, multiply quantity with previous year for previous year quantity, profit last year, you know where this is going. So all 3, sales, profit, quantity, multiplied by my Boolean calculations to give me last year and previous year. I'll just show one, how I did it. So I have sales here. Now I'm going to drag sales last year to the text, sales previous year to the text, go back to my text here, make this smaller. These things do matter. Last year, bam. And then throw in a previous year, done. Already looking good. Entire view. I should probably also, this is in the center aligned, but what is not is the alignment. Center, alignment, middle. Good. So now you have your sales band. Awesome. Do this 3 more times for profit and quantity. Great. Trend. Okay. I have a custom date here. Right click, edit. It's a create custom date of quarters date value. How do I do it? Right click on the order date, create custom date. And then I want to call it quarters and then date quarter. Bam. Okay. So same thing here. Quarters, right click, drop it into the column, say continuous. That's my custom date. I love custom dates because you can't drill in further. If you really want to lock it down, if you want your users are Tableau savvy, then do this instead. Right click, drag order date, and then choose quarters. This way, let me get rid of this. This way the users can expand into month or drill back into quarters or go back to a year. But what I did was use custom date because I want to lock them down. Right. And then take the sales dollar and stick it into the rows. There you have a nice, neat piece. So that's my sales trend. Do this 2 more times, sorry. Oops, trends, all right. Do it 2 more times, once for profit, once for quantity. Awesome. Bar charts, very easy, so easy. But before I do the bar charts, remember I have to use this dynamic piece here. So that when I click on profit, it becomes profit, quantity becomes quantity. So what I did is I created a measure parameter. It's a simple string type parameter. And then I created a calculated field because parameters without a calculation is a ship without an engine or a boat without a radar, right? You can do nothing with it. So parameters and a calculation. And I had to figure that out. I thought I had it here. Where is it? Let me cheat. Here. Selected measure. So what I just did is I couldn't find it, so I just typed. And this is the calculation for the selected measure. I'm saying when that parameter, when that value is sales, then show me the sales value. When it is profit, show me profit. When it's quantity, show me the quantity value. Great. And now I dragged this selected measure into the columns here. And if I wanted to break it down by region, I did like so, entire value. I used this to sort it, so it's nice and neat. And the beauty about this is, let me bring this show parameter. Good. Right, and then I do have the measure I'm talking about. So in the band, in this big number, what I did is I added a label, a sales label. This part is important. This is important because you want that to drive your calculation. It's nothing but a string which is called sales, and I added it here, so this label is that sales label. What it does is in the dashboard, I'm probably going a bit fast, but in the dashboard under actions, I have a parameter action which says set sales parameter. What it does is when I click either on this band or on this sales trend, when I select on either of these two sheets on that dashboard, then that target parameter, my measure parameter, fill that parameter with the value of sales label. So my sales label is sales. And on clearing the selection, do nothing. Keep the current value. So that's my parameter. What it does, if I were to duplicate the whole thing, show you again for an action here, this sheet, add action, change parameter, and I call it demo sales, right? And my source sheet is the sheet 15. Upon select, I have this measure parameter, but I don't have this. I don't have the sales here. All I need to do is bring the sales label in here, right? And that way, the parameter action will be able to find it. So you get the idea. Same thing here. If I drag the sales label into the details, and now I go action, worksheet action, and I say, where is it? This sheet, add action, parameter, say sales, update sales parameter. I can't type. My sheet is the sales trend. Upon select, use the measure parameter and the sales label. Here, done. Okay. Now, for the sake of test, measure parameter, right click, show parameter. If I were to type anything, Ojo here, right? And now let me click on this, watch this value, watch this, okay? Click sales. So that's exactly what's happening. When I click on that sheet, it changes. Let me do it again. Let's type Chris. All right, click on it, sales. That's exactly what's happening behind the scenes. When I click on profit, my value changes profit. And then going back to this calculated field, which was, keep forgetting, selected measure. Now my parameter holds the value sales when I click on sales. When I click on quantity on that band or that trend, that value is now quantity because my string in that quantity is quantity. So now when it is sales, it'll show sales. I hope you get the idea of how it's dynamic. I tried to explain it to my best with this given time. So we have parameter actions to drive this. And then we have the easy bit, which is the dashboard action. Let me show you how. So when I select any of these or a combination of these, and then I go to the show details, it shows what I selected, consumer standard for a given quarter, right? When I unselect this show details, oh, it still holds the quarter. Interesting. Okay, I can show you how I did the dashboard actions. This sheet, these are the filter actions, right? So I have two sets of parameter actions. These bands are only acting on these top bands choose which metric they're going to show. But these trend lines, they are doubling down as date quarterly filters, right? So I have two levels of dashboard actions. One is filter KPIs. So anything that I'm doing with the KPIs will affect everything on the dashboard. So it's just the trend. All of these trends are my source. Sales trend, I don't need the state. It's something new. Yeah. all of these three trend charts will affect everything else on this dashboard, which is the segment, the ship mode, the subcategory, and what have you. So when I do that, when I select any of these trend charts, everything on this dashboard should filter, right? And that's what is happening. When I toggle it, it cleans up it shows everything else, right? And then the second set of action filter, dashboard action, is show the details, filter the details, which means when any of my source filters are either the trend or any of these bar charts, right? Region, segment, ship mode, state, any of those, then show me the details. Let it, when I select any of those bars, the target sheet would be the detail sheet. And I'm saying keep filtered value. I can say show all values. Either of this is fine. And then when I do that, my details sheet, which is in the back end, which trick I will show you, then acts accordingly. Right. So we understood the parameter actions and the filter actions. Let's see how I have this button going, right? Very simple, very, very simple. In a dashboard, imagine this has my sales and my trend. I'm cheating. And then what I did is I held my shift down and I floated a vertical container, something like that. Or yeah, and then let's imagine, let's quickly build a details sheet. So we have segment, we have subcategory, we have region, and then we have profit, quantity. We just drop it on show me it, and then sales. Right. Let's imagine this is my new details. Right. And then in the dashboard with this floated piece gone, I dropped it in the floating and I say entire, oops, fit width. And now on this floating container, I say show height button, right? That show height button is what it is. And I can say edit button and I say use an image, choose, I hope I find it. Yeah, there it is. So when the item is shown, I will say close details. I designed these buttons in a deck in Canva, I believe, and then I just took a picture of it. Item hidden, choose, then show details. Bam, make it big. You get the idea. And now, there you go. Show details, close details. All right, I'll take a pause. I think I tried my best. What do you think?
It looks good. That's a quick blast through.
Good.
There's a few questions, but I'll get set up on my screen for the rest of the training, and then we can do over the session, and then we can do a Q&A at the end as well.
Absolutely.
Entire screen, that one. Okay, so just before we do a Q&A, here's Ojo's contact details, so his LinkedIn page and his Tableau public profile. There was a question in the chat as well as we were going along about how to get the workbook and how to get access to other stuff. And we'll have those things on the event page. So go back to where you actually read this event, and in a few days' time, there will be the recording of this event, or you can catch that on YouTube. And there will be links to the workbook and everything we've been talking about as well.
Right.
Sorry, I got the agenda around the wrong way. Is there any questions that we weren't covering in the chat? I think I've sort of covered everything as we went along. Cherie was talking about how do you design dashboards when they're supposed to have a long list of customer names? How do you do that without a filter?
It's tough, and those are those edge cases. I typically try to convince my users that you don't need a granular filter. I just build what I think is best practice, and I nod my head in disapproval when they ask for. But that trick might not work for all of you. If you're in that position, use the apply button.
And I think it's Nobu, if I'm saying your name correctly. Sorry, I've probably mucked that up. Was saying to use a wildcard filter. I typically do the same thing as say there's other filters come before you get to customer name. And even in customer name, you might use a range of letters. So, you know, the old, almost like the index card filters. Do you want A to D or E to J and split up the alphabet like that? Fundamentally, if you're trying to build a data set, you just have to have a big list of customer names. You can use the little search field at the top and various ways to actually get down to that one customer. If you can avoid that, then that's even better. Cool. I think that's about all the questions. It's everything I remember, but we can come back to that in a minute. There's no other questions I can see, which is good. Okay, moving on to Fast 5. Ojo has never seen this before. This is part of this section, which is always good. So some 5 rapid fire questions, answers. Okay, that's the trick here. It's just the first answer that comes into your head is probably the right one. And they're supposed to be fun and lighthearted, so with this. What's your favorite Tableau shortcut or hidden trick?
This is great. I use the T to toggle between the dashboard and the layout, yeah. Or the G for the grid.
For the grid, yep, very good. If you had to describe Tableau in 3 words, what would they be?
3 words. Art, action, love.
Perfect. When you publish a workbook, how many times do you publish again in the next 5 minutes?
Trick. Well, yeah, not in the 5 minutes, but probably in a couple of days, because I'm lucky that I have a few people that I get bounce ideas. I publish, I share the link, they give me feedback, and I fix them and I republish. So yeah.
So this question's inspired by usually people publish, and as soon as you publish something, you see the error, and then you publish it again,
Yes.
and then you publish it again, and it's just you can't see when it's on your screen, but as soon as it's published, you can see things. That's cool. Number 4, what's the most satisfying thing to do in Tableau?
Most satisfying thing. This is hard. There's so many. I struggle a lot with aligning my components. I have borderline OCD. I struggle, so I love the grid, and I go as low as the pixels will let me go, and I just get fussed up. Sometimes you have the quick filters and the parameter drop downs; they never align. Ray Givler wrote about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is the most
Awesome.
unsatisfying thing, probably.
That's unsatisfying. Cool. And what do you wish someone had told you when you first started using?
Talk to people. Share what you did. It took me 10 years to start that, 11. There's a community out there who cares. So fold in, join.
Exactly. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate the time you've taken. We went over by a lot, and you hanging out there, taking it like a champ.
Well, I had the tech glitch at the start anyway, so part of it was my fault. Just in the Q&A, so Cherie has said, I recently been asked to build a dashboard, to build a year-to-date total table to compare a few years and be able to choose a date. For example, if we choose 4/24, how do we compare the 1st of January up to there? And oh, okay, so she's just comparing this year-to-date to last year-to-date. And how do we read the performance recording? Okay, both of those are really big questions. Happy to go over them, just not within the course of this topic. I would say, and I don't have the link for it right now, I can send you the link as well. Tableau has just set up a new Slack community. So go and watch the keynote. About 3/4 of the way through the keynote, I think it was, Ryan announced that there's a new Tableau community Slack where everybody is welcome to go and ask questions. Ask those questions there, and someone, which could be Ojo or me or someone else, is going to give you the right answer or a variety of answers. I have done both of those things before. It's just there's a lot of detail to go into now to actually get those answers through.
Yeah, lucky me, this is, yeah, sorry to cut you off, Chris, but
No,
lucky
go
me,
for it.
these are popular questions on the forum, like you mentioned, and forum's the place to go. And I found these questions in the forum, and I started recording some of the answers. I've stuck the URL in the chat. That's to my YouTube channel. There are like 40 plus videos there, which are basic, first principles, and you might find some answers in those videos about year-to-date comparison, custom dates, custom start of the year, and things like that. Yes.
Yep, definitely. And performance recording is one of those ones where it's really tricky. I would always say to do it's nice to do the performance recording that you showed. If you want to in depth about what Tableau does, I would always create a workbook with a blank sheet in it and save it as loading that blank sheet. So then you shut down desktop completely, start it up as a blank sheet, turn on the recording, and then when you go to the dashboard, you can see what everything does, because Tableau caches a lot of stuff as well. So if you can actually have it completely non-cached, you'll see really how long queries take, how long rendering takes, all those sort of things. You have to pull it apart and see. So even as I said in the chat before, if you've got a really big list of customer names, if that's taking a few milliseconds, who cares? If that's taking a few seconds, you do care. So there's always that balance of when you're building your dashboards as well. Happy to answer those questions in forums, on Slack, wherever you can find people online to help. Everyone is always wanting to help. Cool. Moving on to the next part, which is the next hug meeting. So Tristan, who was demonstrating at TC, he does a lot of crazy stuff in the best possible way. So with Tableau, so he's doing his presentation of Beyond the Boundaries of Tableau, basically how he's almost pulled Tableau apart and put it back together again a different way, and all the different extensions and vizzes and what was I going to say? Extensions and other things that he does with Tableau. It's on in a few days' time, so all the times are on your screen right now, as in that is the one meeting. It's just different times around the world. I always like that one down the bottom. I was up last week watching TC at 2 a.m. in the morning. Americans can be up at 2 a.m. in the morning watching Tristan if they missed it last week. But your choice. It'll be recorded. You can watch the recording after that as well, or obviously Q&A live with Tristan on that day as well. And also all the team DataFam stuff and all the tube. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple, or email me if you need more information. If you want to present, email me. If there's any details that we've missed out or any changes to this layout, please let me know as well. But thank you for the people that are hanging in there. Yes, we went miles over time. Technical problem on my side. I didn't want to interrupt Ojo because it's all good information on his side. But thank you for your time. And if there's no other questions, we'll let you get back to your Friday, depending on where you are in the world. No one's typing yet, but no one's game to go. Okay, thanks guys. We might wrap it up there, and I'll talk to you soon. Let me know if you need any help or any details.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks, you have a fantastic weekend.
Okay, you too. Thanks a lot. Okay, bye.
Bye.